Hey guys, Million here with you, your ministry firebrand, provocateur, iconoclast, and resident heretic here at Dominion Fire. Welcome to the vlog. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I wanted, initially when I started putting the vlogs together, I wanted to do something more regular and more closer together than these last two episodes have been, but I have been sick, unfortunately. And this is a very touchy topic for me. This is something I'm not real happy about, and I hate when this kind of thing happens. And hey, please pray for me. For a couple weeks now, I have been having issues with things like headaches, dizziness, jaw pain, lightheadedness, general fatigue, and malaise and overall. And unfortunately, that can be indicative of a variety of things. Now, I've been through different, trying like some remedies, trying some different things, seeing what works. And right now it's pointing to maybe an issue with like a jaw problem, such as like a TMJ. Again, I haven't confirmed it, so I'm just speculating right now. But it's improving, I'm feeling better, and I'm not happy. You know, a lot of times in healing ministry, people get involved as healing ministers because they have something going on. They have a sickness or a disease or a situation that they wanted to address, and they learn the truth about sickness and how it comes from the enemy, not God ever, and that there is a truth as to how you approach it and how you minister to it, how you fight for it. And as you minister healing to people, it's the law of sowing and reaping. You sow healing, you reap healing. It's simple as that. So a good part of is if you're sick, you go minister healing for people, and as you do that, it will bring you healing as well. So it's a pretty cool system that God has put in place. Now, I generally don't get sick, and I've always taken pride in that because, like pride in a good way, I've taken pride in that because, you know, I like to brag that God keeps me healthy, and He really does. I have, since I've been in healing ministry, I have hardly been sick. I've had a couple little occasions here and there, little things, and I've had times where symptoms have set in and we fought them off. And this last time around, when these symptoms presented, I will be openly honest with you, I failed. And I basically agreed with them, I let them in, I kind of settled, and as soon as I settled, it just locked in, and I did not go about this the right way. And, you know, for a lot of you guys that know me, you know I'm very edgy. I like to really go after big things, but at the same time, I struggle with things just like anyone else does. And I don't know all the answers, and God, I wish I knew all the answers. This would be so much easier. But the truth of the matter is, and this is what a friend of mine named Art Montgomery has taught on before, and I thought this was brilliant, and he talks about how sickness gets a foothold, and he says it starts with a symptom, and then if you leave that symptom unchecked, it turns into a foothold. And then if a foothold is left unchecked, it turns into a stronghold. And then once a stronghold is on, then you got a good fight on your hands, ready to try to take something on. So what I would tell you is that if you're dealing with a situation, let's say you wake up and you got a little burn in the throat, or you feel like you're getting a cold or something, you need to go nuclear on that from day one. And in a future vlog, we'll get into this more about the topic of things like communion and things like what I call agreement, and things like keeping your body healthy while your spirit catches up to everything. Well, keeping your body healthy while your spirit is catching your body up is probably the better way to say it. There's a lot going on there. And it's just now I'm starting to get some revelation on this, and I will share it as I know more. I'm kind of unpacking it and trying to figure this out. But as soon as you feel something, you got to go right at it. You cannot wait, because if it gets a foothold, it will keep going. And you need to stop it in its tracks. And I didn't do that this time. I just started getting a little freaked out and a little worried, and you know, I started taking over-the-counter stuff. I went to one of our local clinics to see what it was, and all these different remedies and things, and very little has worked. Although I am feeling better, it is improving, but it's still lingering, and I just don't like it. And so it's one of those things that I'm working on and I'm trying to figure out and deal with. And as far as I'm concerned, and I know this is like a weird thing that a lot of people have touchy topics with, is that illness and sickness and disease is not allowed. I do not allow it in my life. And if I've spent so much time renewing my mind to the truth of what God's character really is, and renewing my mind to what sickness comes from and who's responsible for it. And when you step out in ministry, and I'm specifically healing ministry because that's what we do here, You have to understand you're basically stepping onto a battlefield. And it would be foolish to think that you would jump into a firefight and occasionally not get hit by something. Because there's people trying to kill you. There's spirits trying to kill you. There is things that are gunning for you. There are things that are gunning for you, excuse me. There are things that want to make your life miserable, slow you down, stop you, get you out of the game. And for the most part, this one got a hold of me and I don't like it. And that's why I said I failed on this one. But it's okay, because grace is awesome and God definitely picks you up where you're at and lifts you on. And I had someone hit me up on Facebook with a good encouraging message about staying focused on just keep going on the attack, keep fighting, keep doing your thing, and she was absolutely right. So it's easy to get discouraged, and there's times where I will pray for healing for people, and I'll really kind of push them a little bit. And sometimes people will push back with, well, you're not sick, you don't know what it's like, you don't know what it's like to be in pain. And the truth is, yes, I do. And I'm going through it this last couple weeks. Believe me, I know what it's like to be miserable and just to be just so racked out you can't get up off the couch. It's terrible, I know. But we can't let that stop us. So as we're in this fight together, we all need each other, and I ask you again to pray for me, and I'm happy to pray for you guys as well. But I just want to just share with you the idea that if you're going to be in the fight, be prepared once in a while to have something come your way, and be prepared to deal with it. So the moment you sense something's hitting you, you need to go after it quickly, fast, right away. Don't even wait, just go for it. Get it healed, get people to pray for you, go pray for others, whatever you have to do. Overwhelm it with such brute nuclear force that it has no choice but to leave. And make such an impression that in the future, if it ever tries again, it knows how badly it's going to get hit. It's something you really need to do. So, as far as me, illness and sickness are not allowed. And I know that people will say, oh, well, everybody's got to die of something. Well, I don't agree with that. And I'll go into that on a later vlog. There's a whole thing about that I'm getting revelation on as well. And pretty clear in the Bible, I thought. And I know people like when they say, the Bible's clear on... So I just want to throw that out at you for those of you who've seen that Facebook post going around. But there's cool things I'm finding out and cool understandings that I'm getting that I think a lot of times we give in too easily. And I think we agree with stuff too easily that we're not supposed to agree with. And I think that part of renewing your mind comes for that, and part of knowing the truth of God and how the realms of heaven and all that stuff work. And it's a weird journey. It's a weird thing that, I don't care for myself. I will believe God for the craziest things out there for someone else's healing. But when it comes to me, I don't have that same level of faith. And it's a part of me is that it's just not that important to me. I'd rather get someone else healed. But you have to understand that you are made in His likeness and image, so your body is important. You're important too, even if you are the one ministering. And there are times, and I'm going to share this with you because I know this isn't always the most popular thing to say, but hey, you guys know me by now. There are times where I get very mad at God, and I get pretty pissed off, and I'm not going to lie to you. Because there's times where, I'll see someone that is sick and they need healing, and I'll go pray and nothing happens. And it's like, okay, God, it says right here, you're telling me heal the sick, raise the dead, cast out doubt. You're telling me to do it. I go do it, nothing happens, okay? I'm not happy about that. When a sickness latches onto me and I take one of these hits, I get pretty pissed because I'm like, okay, God, why am I not being protected? Why am I not immune to this? Why is this not happening? And there's lots of reasons for it, and lots of things we could talk about on it, and I know you guys have some great input as well. But I'm not so interested in that in this vlog. What I want to tell you is that this happens. Now, I have a 5-year-old, and as his dad, I know that there's times he gets pretty upset with me. Sometimes irrationally, sometimes I give him a hard time and just for fun. But sometimes he'll get very upset and very irritated with me, and sometimes he'll yell. Sometimes he'll hit. Sometimes him and I will clear a space on the floor and we'll wrestle it out until it's over. And then there's times where I just stand there and I have let him just hit me until he's got it out of his system, and then we talk. So if I can figure that out, God is my heavenly dad, I'm sure He could figure that out too. Doesn't change my faith, doesn't change what I believe, doesn't change my love and respect for everything in heaven and God and Jesus, Holy Spirit, and everybody out there. It doesn't change anything. It's normal. So there may be times where you feel that you're mad at God for something because you don't think that it's going the way that you were told it was supposed to go. And that's normal. And instead of running away, I encourage you to press in harder and find out why. Now, again, there's a lot of reasons. I know them all. I've heard them all. I've heard basically every explanation. I get it. And I know where you guys are coming from and all this. But what I'm talking about, again, is just the idea that it's normal and don't let it discourage you. You know, anybody in your family, your parents, your kids, whoever, your spouse, you've had disagreements, you've probably had arguments, it's probably gotten heated. It doesn't change love. It doesn't change who and what you are. It doesn't change your relationship. It's just part of the growing process. So, I haven't really been kind of happy with God this last couple weeks because I don't feel that this should be happening to me. And I'm sure anybody that's dealing with stuff feels that same way. But at the same time, I know that it's not the truth, it's not right. I know the enemy is also working some stuff in there too, and I have to ignore him as well. But just be encouraged that it's not the end of the world, and you have to keep fighting no matter what, because basically, what else is there? There is no other way. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, you could just be healed, just release healing. You could say that when you're feeling good. When you're not feeling good, it's a whole new ballgame. So some of that character is built through adversity, which is important. Some of that maturity comes through this adversity. Now, I'm not saying it comes from God, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is that, you know, God has equipped you to deal with certain things and to get through it, which is part of what he does. And you have to explore that. Instead of running from it, you got to embrace it and run at it a little bit and see why that is. So, overall, again, I'm feeling better. And again, just please pray for me and just help me finish this thing off. And more importantly, please pray that I get revelation to unpack this, because I have a lot of little pieces to the jigsaw puzzle and I'm trying to assemble them as best I can. And, you know, a picture is forming, and I would love to be able to share some of the secrets that we're missing, because I believe that, this isn't popular when I say this, I think we're missing something. And understand, I don't mean missing as in lack, I don't mean it's not there or we're lacking anything. I think there's a fact or a piece or some information or something we're overlooking, like missing that way. That there's something we're overlooking in all this that is not getting us the kind of results we're supposed to be getting. We see good results in our ministry, and a lot of you guys out there, you know, I'm a baby compared to some of you guys that are doing this stuff, and you get great stuff, and but nobody's getting 100% like Jesus did. So we're missing something, and not lacking. We're overlooking or we're not factoring in something. So please pray for the revelation, because I would like to share with you what I know, share with me what you know, and again, we all need each other, so make sure we support each other. And I know it's easy to get in kind of rivalrous relationships and argue with each other. Guys, we got to stop that. Like, I could pick a fight right now on Facebook with how many people, and I don't want to do that. We have to learn that, yeah, we all believe different things, and a lot of this is very personal, and, you know, we're all each individuals. But at the same time, we do have to share what we know and share it as best we can. So let's put this puzzle together. Let's see what we can find. And yeah, and I just wanted to share this with you today. Just be open and honest, because, you know, a lot of times ministers like to put out there that, you know, this is power and power flowing here and we're doing all this. But, you know, we go through the same stuff as everyone else does, and I know I do. And, you know, I like to show off God and put God's goodness on display, because that's, you know, what God told us to do. And but at the same time, there's the human element that has to be factored into that as well. So, yeah. So, just last part I want to touch on is that, you know, getting upset with God is something that kind of happens a lot with me. And again, doesn't change the relationship, doesn't change anything. It's just kind of how I do it and how our relationship is, and, you know, and God works with me within that. And I'm so grateful for His grace. I love grace. And as my friend Tyler Johnson has said before, I love this one. He said, "I like my grace so greasy you could fry chicken in it." And look at me. How could I not like that reference? And I agree with that. I love grace as greasy as you can get it. But before you start flipping out and throwing stuff at your monitor, I am huge on personal responsibility. And I definitely believe that there's another half of that involves taking responsibility for your part in the kingdom and what you represent and what kind of flag you're waving out for people. And I'm very grateful for grace. I'm very grateful for how God does things, and I'm grateful that this journey is going on. So, yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. Sometimes it's not fun, but for the most part, it's very interesting. And again, there's no other way. So, guys, I just want to encourage you again. Thank you for joining me on the vlog, and I just want to just push you out there. If you're going through adversity, got to fight through it. You know, getting upset with God, it happens. It happens, okay? But you can't let that stop you. You know, there's grace, there's forgiveness, there's relationship, there's understanding. This is family. I mean, let's be real about it, and that's just how I roll, alright? So, anytime you want to check it out, dominionfire.com is the website. Please hit the subscribe button. I think it's over there somewhere. Hit the subscribe button so we can get some people following. Hit the thumbs up so we can get this out there. And please make this go viral. Let's talk about God in a good way. Let's have a good time. Thanks, guys. See you next time, and be good.